Hello, Donna. Hello, Donna. No
How are
Beena
you?
yet. No Beena yet. She hasn't been on. She hasn't been on at all. Something must be happening over there. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. How about you, Donna? How about you?
I'm doing well.
Oh, good.
Busy
Oh, good.
morning already, but good.
You had a busy morning, or me?
I did, yeah.
Oh, like what? What was making you busy?
Oh, just nothing exciting. Just got up
Ah, got.
early,
Oh, good. Good.
doing
Good.
a
Good.
lot of stuff.
Excellent. 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 Very exciting. Very exciting. All right. Well, I assume you got everything done now, right?
So you think you would do what you're doing right now, but you would travel?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Very likely, until that gets old. But yeah, I don't think it'll be any different. Hanging out, having this kind of discussions, learning, growing, it's potent stuff. It's really fun, So yeah, wouldn't you?
Oh, it's an interesting question to ponder.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do, and I have thought of that a lot over the years. Uh, you know, what would you do? I always felt that I'd be doing what I'm doing now, so not really different. I like to think of the same question as what did you do on the last day of your life?
Right.
Always have these kind of wild and crazy things that they want to do. Well, do them now. Nothing stopping you from doing a lot of stuff. So it's the same question, but without the money thrown in. Uh, but I find it a good
Money is
question.
just part of it. I mean, the point was without anything,
Yeah,
logistics, money, anything. Like you just said, last
yeah,
day of your life, what would you do?
yeah, yeah. I will do the traveling. As soon as there is a bit more consistency in terms of clients, and the Mourners project is finished and stuff like that. Where like right now, all my time is taken up with making more of the modules and sessions on the Mourners project. There's a lot of work still to be done. And once that is done, then I'll have considerably more free time. Plus, also, once I get into a situation where we can have a full-time admin for the group, that takes a lot of time as well. That's a bunch of hours every day. So, it's really a full-time job there. And anyway,
What will it
so
take for you to get to the point where you have a full-time admin?
well, first of all, the numbers to get the group a little higher, you know. And then I'm not sure really what would be sort of the tipping point. I'd like to get it up to about 50,000 because as it is now, with all the nonsense people in there, when I start eliminating all the people who are spamming and just there for nonsense reasons, who make inappropriate posts, who really there just to promote some their YouTube channel or I don't know, make money out of the thing or think self improvement is making money, I suspect it might be half the members, So that would be the first one. Um, then when you just leave to the people who are there for real, okay, and plus the coaches, I guess, then uh, then I think we can switch it over. Um, I don't know really. I'm just waiting and seeing how it goes as things grow. Um, I see lots of engagement now. Yeah, it's pretty cool. There's a lot of engagement on the post. I probably just take to see who the a person would be to do that. Because it's more than just just liking the posts and commenting on them and you know encouraging people and so on. That sort of thing. There's the marketing side of it as well. Um, which is, I don't know if it's marketing so much as, specific management, where you're saying, hey, you want to advertise? This is how much we charge. This is what's involved. So, you know, and then, taking those people and inviting them to, if they checking out their content, I like Vanessa Jane. She's got pretty sensible stuff. It's nothing earth shattering, but it's very basic, sensible stuff. So there's no reason why whatever course she has couldn't be on a new you. So then you see then uh, part of part of the interaction in the group would be uh, chatting with people, connecting with them, private messaging with them when the things start to get a little bit more detailed, and basically getting to know them and seeing where they're at, and say, look, you know, this is not necessarily offering them much by way of solution, but just well, you can't really, but to get to that point where you say to them, you want to really do something about this? Here we go. Come talk to us on Zoom, and then we go from there. So I guess it's just sort of sorting through the people and pre-qualifying them and all that. So yeah, that makes sense.
I
So
wanted to
it's
hear your perspective.
yeah, it's a particular job. I mean, it's not just kind of liking and dislike. It's not just purely like very basic stuff. There's definitely a lot more involved. Yeah, I mean, it
A
it
lot of
it took.
nuance.
Say again.
A lot of nuance.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely going to require somebody who understands wave applicability, at least, if not having done it themselves. So that's important. Oh, people make strange posts, just posting a video link. I guess it's just a song, so I'm assuming it's appropriate or connected in some way. But yeah, just the group can be a good source of business, a good source of income, even if we just even if people don't want to come, like with Jesse Jane or the other coaches, even if they don't want to come onto the onto a new you, we can refer them to their platform. It don't matter, you know. If we doing the referral and we have the connection with the client, if they sign up, the client lets us know, and and we get the commission, So, which the person working in the admin, you know, um, they're on a they're on a commission basis too. So, they're just leveraging off of the group that we've created. Um, so it's a way for somebody to make money for themselves, and when you have a big group like that, people come and go all the time. So there's always new people, and people lurk these groups for long periods of time. So also, it's I don't, unfortunately, the people who are doing the program, the group doesn't really leverage them. You look at other groups that have a course, the members post and they say, hey, I got this value from it, this changed, this happened to me. Nobody really posts that way. Even sure, she just posts her own story. If you don't know, really, if you're not paying attention, you don't know that she's done the program. She doesn't say, I got this value from doing wave impeccability today. I this changed in my life. I'm resolved on this thing. So other groups that are a where the focus of the group revolves around the program. That's typically what happens. They, at least, I don't know how they manage it, but I guess people, they encourage people to make posts like that, like share your success stories or whatever, So that's a big part of it. That's a big part of it. But it's not essential, you know. But the group admin can certainly, every now and then go and um, poll one of the members and say, hey, what's going on, where you at, what's going on, and then just make a write up about their comments, or like post a testimonial quote or something like that. But yeah, that's a very powerful thing. That's a huge deal, Um, never mind just the value to the participant. That's why I recommended it with everybody to say, make occasional posts and share your journey. Share your journey. It's a very powerful thing. But I don't know. Guess other stuff is it keeps people busy. So I don't know. It just hasn't happened, which is surprising somewhat. I don't know. It's intriguing to me. It's intriguing to me. But we take it as it comes. Yeah. Yeah, Donna.
Yeah, I'm listening to you.
Uh, that's it, really. That's all there is to it. So. It's an interesting question to say what would need to happen. I don't know. I guess for me just to have everything finished, but not necessarily because there's I don't know, I got dozens of courses to make. So I don't know if
Well,
I'll
it's like any other thing
hurry.
that's out there. I don't want to use the word job, but for lack of, another word, it's like any job. You would be the person hiring,
Oh
and there
yeah,
might be people out there that could do it, but unless they know that there's an
oh
opportunity for it, and unless
yeah, yeah, yeah,
you articulate clearly to them, they may not know
yeah.
what you
Oh,
expect them to.
oh, absolutely. And I know where to go if it's not somebody that I see in group. And I see plenty candidates potentially. I actually keep a list of their names. Uh, you know, uh, they have. It seems like they have programs at least. Um, you know, um, if you look at just the comments, you see people make a post, and like Troy Duffy is a good example. Yeah, let me screen share. I'll show you what I mean.
Are you talking about Troy Duffy being the admin person?
Well,
Because that's what I'm
potentially,
seeing.
yeah,
Okay.
potentially, right. I mean, the reason why I say so is because, if you look at the post that he just made this post. I've noticed fear being discussed a lot lately. What is fear to you? And so far, there's 135 comments on this, right? Now, pretty much he has responded to every single commenter. And then there's a follow up sometimes. If you look where I'm saying, yeah, you see, look, Ed said, Lars, and then Troy, and then Ed, and then Troy, and then Ed, and then Troy, and I never seen him promote anything. I've never seen him say, well, come on, PM me or whatever. So I've invited him onto Zoom, and he did say he wants to come. So
Cool.
yeah, yeah. So if Bina comes, then I'll actually message him and we can maybe have him come on for half an hour or so. So, but I mean, he takes a lot of time. I mean, this is a lot of work that he's putting in, and he's not just making a trivial comment. He's reading, he's responding in detail. And look, some of them are long posts like this. Um, and like I said, I never see him promoting anything. So this is an ideal candidate. Ideal, ideal. So all depends what he's doing now, of course, But so yeah, somebody who's really into this. I mean, look, it's just like I just fascinated. He just gives perspective. He doesn't really give advice specifically. He doesn't push a particular agenda. So quite ideal, quite ideal. So anyway, but yeah, yeah, or I don't know. I don't know what I don't know what the income stream will be. So it's a difficult thing to promise. I I do feel that there is huge potential here, but I can't say specifically what's involved. So that makes it tricky, especially if somebody has commitments and they're switching a job, stuff like that. That makes it difficult. So, uh, somebody who is, I mean, I see a lot of people that are on things regularly. They have situations where they aren't specifically working, or they work part-time, or they stay at home with the family or some stuff like that. Initially, to start to see what's involved, this might be a better solution. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say, Donna. That's why I'm saying, I don't have to do anything about it now, just yet. It's still too early. So, I just wait and see and watch, because I've always found when you start making choices beforehand, you limit things. So, you know, it's something I thought, like, hey, you might be interested. I don't know. Sure, Beena, you right? Donna?
Right.
So, well, very interesting. It's lots, I mean, it's a job that can be, yes, it's sort of a full-time-ish job, but not really. I mean, it's not going to take you 8 hours specifically of work or whatever. Probably dedicated work right now, the way it is now. I don't know. I mess about a lot, but maybe 2 hours even, less even, depending how you do it. Um, but I like every single comment. Uh, yeah, I don't know if that's so specifically necessary, um, you know, but I do it because it boosts the group, and when people see admin liking on their comments, they know you're taking an interest, and by implication, you're reading the comments, and it is important to actually look through all the comments, because people will some of the people that are promoting stuff, they know the game already. So if you make a post and your post is just promoting your whatever nonsense you're promoting, it's just a flat out ad. It's not even sometimes related to group stuff. Um, yeah, just spam stuff. Then they know that you can get put on post approval. Now, when somebody makes a comment, you can of course also put them on post approval, but it's a two-step process. Sort of, not really, but anyway, you can also put them on mute them. You know, you see, mute member, and then
Oh,
yeah. So it's stuff like that. So they know if you make your adverts in comments, uh, especially if it's a long comment thread, and it's in the middle there somewhere. You're buried. Especially if there's like a comment chain. A sub thread inside a long thread. They know admins don't have time to open up all of those comment threads. So it's annoying, but yes, what can you do?
who are the
Especially
admins on your group right now?
just the people doing wave impeccability. I don't know if I made K an admin. I don't think so, but I may have. Well, essentially, let me go and see. Let's see. Moderate group. I just did it so that you guys, if you post, it says admin behind your name. And if you comment, it just, if you or like on a post, they say, oh, admin liked on it. So it just gives you a little bit of status, and your posts carry a little bit of extra weight. But I get benefit, or the group gets benefit out of it every time you simply like on something. People get a notification that says, so and so admin liked on it. You see. So let's see, where is this now? Uh, oh, where did I go with this now? There's some place where it says edit group settings. It's probably in there. It's on the other place. And then there's stuff like this just to learn up about it, like social learning. And I made one tab here, this units. It's kind of weird. They set it up as courses, but I'd like to know how to make your own tabs like this. I haven't had time to research it, but anyway. So there's stuff that you see. You can have mentorship, social learning unit, instant game, jobs, watch party, rooms. You see where people can go. Let's group members chat and connect over live video.
Mhm.
You know, just where's the admins now? I
Doesn't
mean, we
tell you
can.
who your admins are.
It does, but I don't know where. Look, you can also turn on post approval, so that all posts are, so that you don't get stuff going,
Right.
just inadvertently. But there definitely is a place where you can see where the admins are. Maybe it's under members. That's right. Okay. The I was gonna say I've seen that. Yeah. See all admin. So Beena's an admin, Donna's an admin, Sue's an admin, Sher's an admin, Erica's an admin, Nobelia, which is the page, is an admin, and then these two are moderators. Just they were taking an active interest, and like he posts a post every day, kind of follows up on his comments also. So he wanted to do something more. He said, let's get a group together, and with ethical coaches. And so I said, okay, sure. I don't have time to deal with it. You take care of it. And he just made one post and he never followed up. And that's why I started the unit, which is I made his post in there. I said, yeah, this is a place where you can advertise. He didn't make a post advertising. I made a post there to say what wave impeccability is. But he was supposed to follow up and invite all the coaches, but he made a feeble post. So I don't know what he did there, but anyway. And then Angelica was just, she's just taking an interest and she was enjoying the group. She's been kind of chill lately. She chatted with us on uh, on Zoom. She's an engineer, interesting, but she wasn't working, and so anyway, so I said, all right, if you want to. She did a little bit for a while, but I haven't seen her on recently, so I guess stuff is happening. So these are pages who liked the people who I guess they they joined as pages, which is rather interesting. I don't think a lot of people know that that can happen, you know. And then you see all these people need post approval. Yeah, and it doesn't show you which are muted members, but usually if I mute someone, then I turn on post approval for them as well. It's a little bit of a two-step thing. It's a bit of a nuisance because from mute you can't directly. I'll show you what I mean. Just while we're on it now. So if I go here, somebody's made a comment. You only have these options to remove or delete comment and remove member or mute the member. So I can mute them here, but then in order to put them on post approval, I have to copy their name and go to members, search for them, and then turn on post approval. Which is, I don't know why they didn't give you that option here as well. Because if people are making inappropriate comments as a muted comment, likely they're going to do that for post too. So yeah. But at some time in the future, when you have those very obvious spammers, that's it. It's just delete comment and remove member. I mean, I like to keep them because it keeps the numbers up. So uh, once you have them muted, you can mute them for a whole month. Once they see that they muted consistently, they'll either leave the group or just give up. So or if they keep trying and they're just stupid, well, that ain't gonna happen. So because the numbers help, the numbers are a big difference. They really make a difference. So anyway. All right. All right. So while we're on this, you see, I keep track of the people who um, who post, make good posts, and who follow up on the posts, and who make nice comments, who are ethical and sensible and nice. And so there's a whole bunch of them here. And some of these people like this David Roylance, uh, he does Buddhism. He's in Thailand. He's got the whole kind of a little institute thing going on. And you want to learn Buddhism, you can learn for him. It's all for free. Yes, he takes donations, but he's doing considerable stuff, all for free essentially. I don't know if he has paid programs as well, but I never seen. I never seen. He just said it's all for free. So it's just. I'm assuming it's all coming from donations. So, but it's a pretty cool resource, And this is somebody who we could utilize. Who's quite happy, like to come on a Facebook Live, talk about Buddhism. Come on Zoom, say we want. Oh, as part of the Mourners Project, I want to do that. I want to look into the different religions. So um, you know, go into them in depth a little bit because particularly Buddhism, there's a lot of value in Buddhism. So we'll have to see what specifically is Buddhism involves. There's also Buddhist religion, which is it's not much different to Roman Catholicism. But anyway, so all of these are, you know, potential contributors to a new university. Some of them not, like this Sly Jenkins. He's all, leadership and blah. You have to be hardcore and all this. He's ex-military guy and all this crap. But he wants to advertise his product, so he's a little bit of an exception here. Most of them, their content is stuff that I approve of. Uh, Not that there's anything wrong with his content, but it's just not really our focus. But nonetheless, he's somebody who is looking for business from this deal, so he's a potential customer for advertising, right? Yeah, because right now, they don't make hardcore ads. Just have a link, they have this. So I don't know how much business they get out of it, but I do know from clients on demand. I did that course, the course making course, and how to advertise and all this. Um, there are people who make six-figure incomes per month out of their groups, just by getting people to sign up for their programs. So, you listening, Donna? You still there, Donna? Where'd you go? Ah, put you to sleep. Sinaloa, where's that? Where you, Donna? I don't hear you. If you are there,
I'm
ah,
here.
maybe. Oh, okay. Huh. I just like to see where people are from if I don't know. Mexico. Okay. I like looking at maps too. All right. All right. Where we at? Whenever you are, just pull it up. Slides. We keep going. We keep going. So, any thoughts? Any thoughts on all of this, Donna?
I have lots of thoughts on it, but I was more interested in hearing yours.
Oh no, but I want to hear yours too. Uh, that's why I shared in so much detail. I wouldn't have gone into that much detail. Just giving you a rough overview. Like, what are your thoughts, Donna? Let's hear.
Well, you've got the no seams going on again, huh?
Yeah, bloody bastards. Oh, well, I don't know. I'm hoping that my trap catches them, but I haven't seen it yet. So yeah, let me show you. Let's get that up here. Okay. Well, blue light to attract them, and then this is a vacuum, and it sucks them into the trap thing down here. And I don't. That gauze is too small for the no seam. I have a feeling they just get sucked right through there. So I don't know. Uh, they the size of a tip of a pencil. So I mean, there is something that got caught there. But they say clean this screen every week. I've had this thing for 3-4 days now. There's no way. I mean, I can see one thing here. There's no way that unless there's stuff lying on the bottom there that I can't see. There's no way this needs cleaning once a week. It's like, come on, there's hardly anything in here. So maybe I must put something sticky down the bottom there. I have one of those sticky things, the sticky fly trap things, right next door to it. That's not helping either. So I was wondering if it I can't see it being anything else, but I mean the bites are itchy like a mosquito bite. Um, but I was wondering if it's not a rash maybe of some kind. Yeah, Donna, what do you think?
I don't know. You seem to itch a lot.
Well, I mean it's a bump, and if you squeeze out the poison, I can't always get it squeezed out. Sometimes I can. Sometimes if I squeeze it out, then it's not a problem at all. They bit me right here on the elbow. How in the hell? I mean, it's a thicker, tougher skin. It's like, what the hell? Just go a little bit to the side. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. So anyway, this kind of helps. Benadryl, some itch relief sticks, so it does help. It's not ideal. And they bite me like, see, like right there. Have you ever had mosquito bites like on your fingers?
Not usually, no.
It's the most fascinating thing. The only place I don't get bitten is on my face.
Hmm.
Yeah, my ankles, on my knee, right like on the kneecap, sort of. It's like, dudes, seriously, where's your logic here? I can understand the ankles because the skin is fairly thin and the blood vessels are fairly close, so that makes sense to me. But like the elbow and these bites here, well, they must have got me in the night because I had the long sleeve shirt on since this morning. So I don't know, unless they can bite through the shirt. I don't know. It's just too strange to me. I don't know, Donna. I don't know. So talking about my shirt, see, one of the new
No, I
shirts,
saw that. That's a nice shirt. New one?
a new one. Yeah, I need it. It's one that I will wear with a vest. When the vest comes. So I should have some vest tomorrow. So that's cool. That's cool. Anyhow, all right. Share screen, Donna. Share screen. Share screen. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. We've got lots to do. But while you share screen, tell me what your thoughts were on the group thing.
I just feel as though it was, I don't know, it was just a pressure that came up, and you've brought up an admin several times, and it's just sort of stuck on what exactly are you looking for in an admin, and who would be a right, an appropriate person, and who has those types of skill set. And I already, had a sense it wasn't the typical admin,
No.
go in and
Yeah.
do computer stuff admin kind of person. So I just wanted to hear
I mean,
specifically if you had a clear vision of what
well, I
that was
do. I
about.
mean, that's it's pretty clear. Again, I can't be 100% clear because,
Oh,
uh,
but you
you
have to
know,
have some sense.
yeah. I mean, you heard what I said. I mean, I'm pretty clear already what's involved. I mean, they the technical stuff like liking the posts and approving members and stuff like that, that's very simple. In terms of the advertising part, you know that's really also fairly simplish. In terms of selling advertising, say, look, you see somebody as a coach, say, hey, you want to post, these are our rates. You can either do it as, where you pay upfront for the advertising, or we do it on a commission basis, which involves some trust, um, but not necessarily. We can set up a pay link so that if they advertise, that's the sign up link, and the pay link, that when they pay for the course, they we automatically get our cut. Now again, that's some trust, but somebody would be hard pressed to go and thwart that, kind of work around it, because, well, we have access to the member, and we're going to be following up and asking them, how's it going with your course? And we want to know that too, because we don't want to be recommending stuff if it's crap, you see. So, it's not a problem really in terms of, people trying to go behind our back. It'd be they can do it once essentially. So, but I would say the biggest part where a bit of skill, or not skill, but a bit of moreness is required, would be in making posts that stimulate. Uh, Basically, you have to stir up things. Okay, like what are you struggling with? And then you write a little post and you share like how you are, well, like just your comment that you made uh, in chat, about relationships and children. That's a perfect. Make that into a post. Just you can take exactly what you wrote on that, boom, and then you say, is it just me? That thinks this is, or that, for whom this is an issue, and so on. And if you say, no, I hear you, and I had the same thing, and I got this boyfriend, and they couldn't stand my kids, and they left, and it was nice, and blah, and you just keep stirring the pot, as it were. And then you sort of see in the comments who wants to actually do something about this or not. And you find out, and then you go, okay, next thing you go, sign up for a course on relationships or whatever. You see what I'm saying, Donna? So yeah, and it's not very hard to do. It's basic rainmaking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I said,
You're a funny one.
What's that? I didn't hear what you said.
You're funny.
I'm funny.
Yes.
I don't mean to be. Funny how?
Just
What?
the way you connect everything makes me laugh.
Right. For me, you'd be ideal for this job. You have all the skills required. So I don't know if you'd be interested or not. That's the only part. I don't know.
I would be interested, but I want to work on me first and get myself in order, and I have other commitments. So if I committed to anything right now, I wouldn't do anything well.
Exactly, exactly. That's why, like you said, when you asked me, I said, it's not something that I need to pay attention to right now. And usually, when I don't need to pay attention to things, I don't, and that's useful, and it's actually very efficient in a longer
Right.
overall sense, because wait until the time when you do need to, then you go into it fully. Plus, then there's more data, more relevance, more pertinence. So it's a much better time to do it. So right now, I observe and I sort of, formulate stuff a little bit. And,
It
like
was
somebody
it,
asks me, we work
right.
on it.
It was just weird because somebody, it was unusual. I use that word. Somebody had mentioned Sedona would be a great place for me to live because of the weather, and then
Mm.
used the word, you'd be a good facilitator. And I was like, wow, have you been talking to people in the group or?
That's fascinating. So somebody there, like online or physical
No, no,
person?
somebody in my physical existence that I'm not
Wow.
aware of is in the group. Although they could be because I've sent them information several times. So, I mean,
Wow.
they may be and they just didn't share with me, but I just found that interesting.
So we can see if they're in the group. We can go check.
All right, let's do modules. You ready?
Yeah, yeah. Donna, but I just want to check this. So this is somebody who you know in person, more or less, yeah.
Correct.
And they
Yes.
said Sedona and the facilitator. That's that's not just random. That's not casual.
Oh no, what he
And
says is not random or casual.
right now, again, Sedona. We don't mention Sedona much in the group. You know, I've never specifically mentioned Sedona.
Well, before I was even in the group, I had mentioned to this person, so it's probably just
Oh,
coincidence
oh,
that I wanted to travel to Sedona. And before I ever was involved in this group, I wanted to go to a Sedona Soul adventure
oh, I see. Okay.
weekend. So it probably was just a coincidence.
Yeah, but they said facilitator, so that's not that coincidental.
Well, there was conversations about
Oh,
uh, old jobs and what you
uh,
liked about your jobs and what you enjoyed. Um, I've always asked the question from a universal standpoint. Well, no, not always. Let me rephrase that. Recently, I've been asking from a universal standpoint. You look at jobs, and am I going to be at Richard A. Myers Jr. and Associates forever? It is serving a purpose and serving me well now. I don't see myself there forever. And
yeah,
there's this
yeah.
question of, and I don't have the correct words for the moreness of it, but when I was asking you, what do you love to do, and if there was no obstacles, and most people have an idea of that. And sometimes the ideas are surrounding a title, or sometimes they're surrounding a job. And every once in a while, you'll get a moreness answer to more of an abstract. I enjoy like facilitating learning for others, or whatever
Exactly.
it might be. But a lot of times it's, I would be an artist, or I would be this, or
Yeah.
I want to be a president of, or kind of things. And there's nothing right, wrong, or indifferent. It's just I'm asking I'm asking the universe for guidance from a moreness perspective on, okay, I had all these jobs and I was brought to a way of impeccability through synchronicity, and there definitely is moreness that goes on within this group. And
Right.
so how do I leverage that? And what
Exactly.
exactly from a universal perspective um,
Exactly.
could I be doing? So I just,
Exactly.
just
Exactly.
exploring that,
And
just
and and that's
having
that's
that
why.
dialogue,
Exactly. Sorry. Go ahead.
just having that dialogue.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's why, to me you'd be ideal. Because you have your freedom. You can go for your walks, do your jazzercise. This is not a job that requires you to be there in a block of time. It's actually more ideal if, like, you wake up, you do a little bit, you go and do your stuff, and you come back and you spread that 8 hours or whatever time. I don't care if you can get it all done in 4 or 2 hours. It makes no difference to me. And, it's just the need to get it done. But it's more important if you spread out, that time across your whole day, so that because the posts, you don't want them sitting there, so then you do first thing and last thing kind of a deal and stuff like that. But even that's not entirely critical. But it gives you a lot of time to go and do all your different activities, and then you do this in between. It's ideal. You can do it from anywhere too, which is also nice. So yeah.
Well,
So
I agree, and
yeah.
it's
So
something that I've been thinking about quite a bit.
uh,
And there's the practical matters of, I just need to get my things
yeah,
finished
yeah, yeah,
and not overcommit. And
yeah,
so
yeah.
maybe that's driving a sense of urgency to get the modules done. And
Ah, yeah. Good,
who
good,
knows?
good. Good. Wow, that makes me happy. So, I like it that getting the modules done. So, all good, all good, fantastic. Very exciting. Sorry, I'm just quickly get the fridge here.
If I were to pursue that, I definitely would look at it as very collaborative, because I'd want to know exactly kind of your vision, and then I may not have the technical skills necessarily going in to
Yeah.
be able to do a lot of those things. So I
Nah,
don't know
nah.
if that's an option
That's
either
nah,
for you,
nah.
but
There's no technical skills required here. None. Not that you don't already possess. Oh yeah. No, that's not an issue.
all right, you ready to do module
Up,
7,
up, up,
session
up,
1?
up, up.
There was so much in this
Good.
module, but it took me hours to do the
Brilliant.
tasks at the end. It was like,
Brilliant.
oh my word.
Yes, 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 yes. Very good. Finally, finally. Good, 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 good. That makes me very
Finally, what do
happy
you
to hear.
mean finally?
That something is really grabbing you and it's like getting you, sucking you in. So that's. I thought it would happen at some point. So I've been waiting for this. So I said to you, just wait. It's coming. It's coming. See, there it come. You said. You said I wanted to come. So well, that came. So. unless unless it's not what I think it is, but we'll see. We'll see. Okay, keep going, keep going. Comparison and hierarchy. I'm listening, listening, listening.
Bubble of the relativity mindset believes it can make an actual negative situation appear positive by comparison.
Yeah, yeah.
The key there is by comparison. It's okay to take
Exactly.
a negative and turn it into a positive. What's
Absolutely. It's essential to do that, but not
right?
by comparison. Yeah, yeah.
Right. What's comparison and hierarchy about? The comparative mindset and the superiority part. The comparative mindset and the superiority paradigm. Is that a complete sentence? Everything in the BS psychology is shaped by those two concepts. How they compare relatively is of supreme importance to the BSer, especially so for the BMN. They
Uh-huh.
have no concern with acquiring absolute value. It matters only where they are in the hierarchy. Better than and relative status is important, not being good for its own sake. The value of goodness lies only in expediency, how it serves them, basically. This
Yeah.
obsession with
I'm
relative,
sorry. Will you go back to the previous one and then do me a favor, please? And there, after that sentence, after paradigm, put a semicolon and then lowercase e.
light. There we go. So I can actually see my keys on the computer.
All right. So semicolon, lowercase e. Yeah. There we go. Cool.
That makes more sense.
That's perfect. Yeah. Yeah.
Ba-ba-da-ba-ba. All right. This obsession, oops, what'd you do? That happens sometimes and I don't click on it. So interesting to me.
Yeah. That goes twice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know
This
why.
obsession with relative value is what leads them to the manipulations, put downs, and pull downs. They like to think they are the best, but they know on an objective basis this is absurd. So they settle for being the local best, which usually means that they find somebody to dominate in some way. It's so utterly pathetic, but it's a reality. Their lives are made miserable by this comparing by their preoccupation with hierarchy. They can't just enjoy themselves being themselves.
Yeah.
These self evaluations are always relative to others, never absolute to their own standards and goals. Relative objectives and values are problematic. The BSer can only ever be as good as who they are comparing themselves to. When the self is fake, what gets compared? It's why independence of being is so critical. Otherwise, one ends up being a slave of comparison. Now, in this one, what came up and what I wrote down was about comparison and making sure that uh, my observation isn't biased, and that is, I have in the past brought up comparison situations. And for me, I feel as though I'm doing so because it offers me an opportunity to discern and learn
Yes.
versus
Yes.
hearing and judging and and determining where I am as an individual compared to that person.
Yeah.
It's like the intent is different going into it.
Yeah.
But I just want to double check with you if that resonates or if that's a valid perspective to kind of look at
Oh,
it.
absolutely, absolutely. Comparison is not a problem. It's only so if we do it from a better or worse standpoint.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I got out of it too.
Right.
Okay.
If you're looking at people doing way of impeccability and you say, well, how are they learning and how am I learning? You're not really comparing, but you kind of are. But it's for the purposes of improving your learning. Now we have to understand when we do look at this, you say, well, the people that are doing this course, they might all be really poor learners. So, don't base your learning or their techniques of learning, don't put too much into it, because like I said, they might not necessarily be particularly good learners. So we have to be very careful of a false data set. But regardless of whether they're good learners or not, if they are doing something that is learning in a particular way, that and you say, oh wow, that's cool, that helps, and it helps you, well, who cares, so
Right.
it's
It's just a matter of like
yeah,
taking it with a grain of salt, kind of, and
exactly.
then trying it on for a bit and seeing how it
Right,
benefits you, which in turn
right,
benefits
right,
everybody, kind of thing.
right, right. But also, okay, that's now for learning specifically. But you might look and say, well, how are people doing in their lives? Are they applying? Are they happy? Well, again, everybody might do the course, and let's say they're not particularly happy and they're struggling. That just might be because they don't want to deal with awful truths, and they don't want to do the work and so on. So we have to take everything under advisement. And but yeah, certainly looking at others is most valuable. It's most useful. Yeah,
Decency isn't necessarily innate. As a consequence, some end up enjoying being negative, a result of the necessity for gross ego to make the constant effort of maintaining the delusion of superiority. It's easier to pull down others than it is to raise the self. That is true. It's a lot of it's yeah, very
yeah.
true.
It's a lot of work.
The shortcut mentality is a large part of this mindset.
Mm.
They want to be better and superior. Really, if the other thing that came up, if you just understand that we're all connected, then there is no better and superior. I
Yeah,
mean, just if
yeah,
if I remember that one thing, it
yeah.
instantly shifts me out of that.
Exactly,
We're
exactly.
all connected. We're all connected. We're all connected.
You said something key. If I remember that one thing. Now,
Right.
the fact that you are still in a situation where there is some pressure on you to remember it is why we are going over the same stuff over and over and over. By the end of this, I guarantee you there's no way you need to remember that. It will be so front and center and obvious because every time you read this, it's coming up in your brain. And after a while, it's just going to be there automatically with no need to ever remember it.
It
And
is
that,
it is already there.
right,
I
right,
humble it.
right, right. But I
I'm
mean,
just saying it.
yeah,
I don't want to say if people, so sometimes I say if I, because I don't want to come across as I'm already, there, but I am there on that point.
right,
That is pretty
yeah,
front and center.
right.
And
Okay,
the other thing too is like if you if you know and are that, okay, let's just say if that is front and center in your mind and you become that, which you do eventually, it becomes you and you get
right,
that, then everything that you're putting out, you recognize you're putting out to others also comes back to you, and it's just this circular thing. Then
exactly,
it goes back to how can you not be good? How can you not
exactly,
be appropriate? How can
exactly,
it doesn't really take much effort. It's just like,
exactly,
well, duh, how can you
exactly.
not?
Yep, 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 yep. But we have to be good for goodness's own sake, not because you're getting
Right,
rewards. Yeah, that's why
right.
it's not obvious to the world in general. The universe keeps that secret very well, Eden.
Doing
Universe is
so
sleep.
in a real, yeah, sense takes energy and effort. An effort they're reluctant and unwilling to make. I can relate to that. I was, as they don't believe they can actually succeed, so they have to find alternative means to satisfy this ego craving. The easiest is simply to pull others down below them, or, as with chickens, to peck on their heads. With human interactions, this pecking is a variety of negative acts. Controlling a situation doesn't require dominating anyone or overstepping the boundaries of respect and humanity. All that's necessary is being in charge of oneself. Trying to bully or manipulate others is merely a substitute for lack of personal solidity. Dominance and control aren't necessarily the same, with neither being integral to real leadership. Yeah.
Yeah,
Leadership has nothing to do, in my
right.
perspective, with
Uh,
either one of those.
right. And as part of Mona's project, I would like to make a specific course on leadership. Wouldn't that be cool? Yeah, yeah,
All leadership is really is bringing out things that are already within people.
yep, yep. To me, the essence of leadership is a willingness to do first. That to me is the essence of leadership, really.
Bullshitters are far from feeling in command of themselves. How can they be? How can they? Wait. Bullshitters are far from feeling in command of themselves. How can they be if their selves is a lie?
Hmm.
That
Can
falseness
there be comma?
corrupts.
Maybe add a comma in there for me, please. For us. After B. Fine.
Jeez, chill out
No,
there.
my
Jeez,
mind's just fast.
whiz.
Sorry.
Mind is so fast.
Comma
Oh,
space.
I thought mine was fast.
I just hit comma space. No.
I
Comma
know.
space.
No, I know. I know.
I know you.
Chill.
I know you know. I was just taking the opportunity to be a jackass.
Yes, you were.
I was, yeah. I was doing it on purpose just to tease,
Eating.
Thank you.
What are you eating?
Oh, apple skins. I'm gonna bake some apple now. Oh.
Huh?
I
Okay.
like eating the
That
skins too.
fallenness corrupts everything they do, and sadly, they believe the solution lies in dominating or being higher or better than others. The idea of simply being happy and content within themselves is utterly foreign to them. So unfortunate. The top dog, bottom dog mindset is an assessment evaluation of relative positioning, perceived status, and image, in an attempt to establish superiority and hierarchy. So we have a dynamic and a situation that I've observed where somebody is insecure and is involved in hierarchy associated with a person that is all about helping in a manner that isn't healthy.
Mm,
And it's interesting to see that dynamic feed off of each other.
mm.
And the person in the hierarchical role, um,
Hierarchical. Yeah.
yes, yes, hierarchical
Put an
role.
R in there. I
I'm
know that.
trying.
Hierarchical.
I roar. There's just certain sounds that are
Yeah.
unique. Okay, so you know what I mean. Anyway,
Yeah.
they hire these people deliberately,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they have an unawareness of it.
Yeah.
And then there's another dynamic of intentional hiring of passivity
Yeah.
because it's easy, because
And
they so dislike dealing with conflict.
right. And also their hierarchy
Even
is not challenged.
right, right. And even though it impacts their ability to retire,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
the flow of the company, the dynamic of the company being positive so everyone can grow.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all within a comfort zone, and they're not willing to get out of it. They have no desire.
Pretty amazing. Um. Okay. So
Which brings us to our next slide. How about that?
there's something else I wanted to add in here real quickly. We are also doing something else in the same way as that about remembering that. Now, there's going to be a bunch of stuff like that uh, that's a memory thing, and it shifts to being an innate perception. Okay. Now
Right.
we want these understandings and insights, which now are, I think how to say this, they fall into the category somewhat of like, geez, seriously, right? That's it. They fall into that seriously question mark category, right? All of
Okay.
these points that we're making. But as we go through, like for me, I see the preposterousness, but I don't internally. go like, ah, seriously, it's not vexing for me anymore because I simply see it in the same way as I see rain or wind or snow or hot weather or anything in the world.
Right. Just part of it.
It's just nature. It's just exactly. So that's the important point that we want to get to. When we get to this point where it's so drilled and innate, and we have such a full fluid awareness of it, it just is what it is, and you adapt and you move around it, and that's it. And then we're going more. That's step one. Then we're going to make innate the ability to transmute it into moreness.
We are.
Yeah, very cool.
Sometimes people have the moreness, but because we're going through the process of the modules and we're doing them the way they were intended, it may appear that they don't, but they might. But they're just going through the process, you know? They
Is it
might be
just
working backwards.
exactly, exactly? Who knows? Who knows? We leverage it.
I don't know.
Is it just me, or does these elephants look like they either have three legs or that trunk is like a stinger or something else? I don't know.
I don't know. It's just
And
you.
like they bee elephants or something. All right.
BSers and especially BMNs suffer from a primitive mindset and logic. If we look at the animal kingdom, we see the same behaviors of dominance and bullying and valuation placed on physical prowess and appearance. The logic of value in the primitive animal perspective is all superficial. Deeper values like honesty, sensibility, integrity, strategy, and thinking aren't valued. Dominance is purely based on either being bigger or more aggressive. When those aren't options, the BSer relies on looking the part, pretending to have the goods.
Wow.
Yep, I don't want to
Mm,
be that. The basic
right.
attributes which result in dominance within the primitive animal logic have generally been substituted by humans, yes. There are still instances where physical bullying takes place, and many are valued for their looks alone, but in general, these have been replaced by actual relevant capabilities. Some have realized the actual skills and abilities aren't needed. Others just have to believe those abilities and skills exist.
Well, a person I posted a couple of times in the group now. Obviously, I had to remove it, but putting on makeup, like makeup tips. And last they were live, and they went to, I don't know, it took them half an hour, however long. The whole rigmarole and base and layers and highlights and God knows what all, and then it didn't look very exciting in the end. I was grateful if you ask me, but fascinating.
What in and of itself is so like deleting worthy is that for you?
So what were they?
Deleting.
Well, in our group, I just felt that's not a particularly, pertinent or relevant post, no? Or would you think so?
Um, it depends on I didn't see it, but
Well, you're
there
literally sitting in
is.
front of the thing and putting makeup on. Showing you, okay, you put a bit of blush, you first with your base, then you do this. It's like a, instructional in a sense, but I don't know how that really qualifies as self improvement. I guess kind of, but it's it's a very superficial self improvement.
It is a
I could,
superficial. However, if it's a step where people are really at that level
yeah,
and it is allowing them to have a strength within and feeling better about themselves to take a next step, then what's
yes.
the harm in that?
No, I agree with you fully, Donna. I absolutely agree with you fully. And in a mature group, I'd have no problem putting that in. But right now, and I agree with you entirely. So I'm really pleased that I mentioned the comment and also that you are mentioning it too. It's fantastic. So I'm totally with you, and my heart goes out to that. So from my nobility perspective and my compassion, I feel exactly how you do. However, right now in the group, allowing that group, by implication, is going to open the Pandora's box to a whole bunch of superficial stuff. We need to build the group on the not so superficial. Then we can have those where they're more periphery and they're not the core focus. But otherwise, the group will shift completely, and
Okay.
you're gonna get all sorts of stuff that are related to that.
The
You know,
foundation has to be strong, and then from there we can
exactly,
have people that are starting at that
exactly,
level and build.
exactly,
Okay, I got what you're
exactly,
saying.
exactly. We have other important business to attend to.
Oh, Beena.
Hello,
Hello,
Bina.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. But yes, desperately waiting for power and network to come because of
Wow, I saw that. Yeah.
thunderstorm here in Karachi and heavy rain.
Oh, wow, wow.
So,
Well, at least
where
you're
is the
getting
power?
rain. At least you're getting rain. So,
Yeah, rain is okay because it's a monsoon season, but
yeah.
2 hours of rain and whole day of power shutdown and network shutdown.
Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, I figured something was up. So, uh,
How are you, Donna?
Good, good, good.
oh, good. Oh, good. Good, good, good. I'm pleased you're good, Bina. I'm pleased you're here. Pleased everything's okay. So, tomorrow, high priority to get that SIM card for your connecting thing, yes?
Yes,
And to get your power thing, right?
power bank also.
The power
Yeah.
bank. Yeah. So two things for
Because
tomorrow.
tomorrow again,
Well, or
I
today,
expect
today. It's already tomorrow there for you. So no, it's eight
no.
in the evening. All right. No, 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 no. So almost. Yeah, yeah. all right, all right, all
Okay,
right.
please continue.
Yes, 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 yes. Brilliant, brilliant. All right, where were we, Donna? Keep going, keep going, keep going. It's cool. It's exciting. I'm enjoying this.
Thus we get to BS. It's an attempt at dominance, being in control, having value, being a leader, and otherwise securing some benefit for themselves by pretending to have what others seek. If we look closely, BSers always sell an image, a generalized idea they can deliver on their promises, never selling specifics as to how exactly. They just create the impression they can, usually based on selling competence in some way. Why a con is called a con, it's all based on pushing competence.
Yeah, they used to
BSers,
originally be called confidence tricksters or confidence men, and it got abbreviated to con men. That was the original name. Just by the by, a bit of trivia. Sorry, keep going.
BSers sell the confidence of having value, of being the dominant one. When in positions of dominance, besides the ego payoffs, they know pushing their BS is easier, as they can shut down questioning. They know many are happy to follow without thinking. They exploit this laziness and lack of personal responsibility. Hierarchy and dominance thus have additional values besides ego boosting. When BSers do find themselves in positions of authority, their main commandment is thou shalt not question. Oh, yes, indeed.
Wow.
Just believe me and shut up. The comparative mindset and lack of self honesty limits truly relating. Yeah. Okay. How can a BS being relate? How can a false, fake, imaginary, and thus unreal personality and character relate? It can't. It's like having a relationship with someone in a movie, not possible. Since the desire for hierarchy is so central to BSers, as it facilitates their BS and fakeness, and because part of the self BS is that it's only relative superiority which is needed. These mindsets are always comparing.
Ah, sorry to interrupt you 1 second. I was not aware of this, but now I am. It is Susan's birthday today. Sue. Just in case you want to
Yes.
wish her. So,
I'm good.
Right to interrupt you there, Donna, but if I don't do it right away, I always think, maybe I'll forget, and I don't want to forget this, so I just take care of it right away, and then it's done. Yeah. 26 July. Sorry, continue when ready, Donna. I just wanted to say that. So yeah. No, I mean, when ready, go ahead. So no worries.
This constant comparing makes relationships impossible. If they compare and the other seems to be better than them, they feel like relatively, it's absurdly foolish. Instead of enjoying the value of the other, they turn it into feeling bad by comparison. This results in them needing to pull the other down to gain relative superiority. If they succeed, they lose any perception of value in the other, typically turning negative toward them as they then see the other as worthless. The comparative mindset, when combined with the belief in the importance of hierarchy, ends in a complete lose-lose, no possibility of a win situation, a foolishness beyond compare. Pecking. That was funny. This part made me laugh.
What? Which part?
Pecking. Pecking orders.
Oh, pecking.
This is
I
so
thought you said hiking.
prevalent.
I'm glad you
What?
liked that. I'm just enjoying that you enjoyed it. That's very cool. Yeah. We try to be a little bit creative, put a little bit of difference into things.
We might ask the BSers don't strive to self-improve. Oh wait, I didn't read that right. We might ask why BSers, there we go. Don't strive to self-improve. In pecking order logic, position is the hierarchy and is established by whose head one can peck on. Just makes me laugh. I can just vision this right? This beak pecking on your head.
I would love to do that in an organization, right? Well, have people watch chickens, and then you give them like a strap-on beak, and you say, "Okay, here you go." Just practice your pecking order now. See how this feels.
Purely an activity of putting down others. There's no place for goodness or actual improvement, which doesn't serve dominance. The entire psychology of pecking is geared to see who can be pecked and how one puts them down and keeps them down. Kind of like what's going on in the world. Pecking is exclusively a relative and comparing mindset. In chicken in chicken land, it just brings a visual. It's hilarious. Independent individuality isn't a possibility. It's either pack or be packed.
Why?
And so is enjoyment of the self as an activity unrelated to hierarchy is unknown, an impossible concept when everything is about hierarchy and pecking.
Yeah.
A chicken mindset in a human is an unspeakable tragedy.
That's a good quote. I really like that quote a lot. Yeah.
It's an interesting visual that you chose for that.
Yeah,
I was trying to make sense of it.
There isn't any logic to it, really.
Okay, thank you.
Other than to make you think a little bit. Sometimes I just go with what the next picture is in the progression. Usually they work out really well. Occasionally they're a little out. So see, I like this too. I thought, wow, very creative. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like this cover.
Is that a Beena creativity?
No, this one was my madness.
Thank you. So creativity.
No, it is so beautiful. Not madness at all. Very creative.
Thank you.
When we look at the hierarchical and comparative mindset, we also see how utterly dependent they are on convention. They are slaves to should. So terrified are they of the perceived negative consequences of disapproval, so completely do they buy into the idea personal value can only be found through superiority and dominance, that they believe the system they are in is the only option. Well, they may not know there's another option. How can you know something that you've not been exposed to?
But that's their belief, you know. It doesn't make it a sensible belief.
This translate, well, it's kind of like, how do you know something you don't know?
Yeah.
Unless you make an effort to figure out what you don't know. This translates into these mindsets being extremely conventional. They seek to maintain and cling to the status quo because it's familiar and comfortable. Oh, yeah, comfortable.
Yeah.
They know how to deal with hierarchy. They know hacking. They know dominance. They know superiority. They know BS. Anything they don't know is threatening. The unknown is where they have no competence, no skill, no ability, and thus no power. Already, they're substantially insecure in the known. The unknown is exponentially worse. I have a hard time with the unknown.
Oh, really? Why?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I was gonna say, dang. Could be. Could be.
I do. One can't possibly dominate and be higher in areas where one doesn't know. This is why change, innovation, learning, and growth, thinking, science, anything that threatens the stability of the status quo, an established convention is feared and disliked, intensely and energetically resisted. With the entire being of the BSer founded on hollow lies, any potential disruption or exposure of that lie is a huge threat. Anything new is such a threat since unknown, it's not within the sphere of control. Now, this is where, if I looked at it from my perspective, which is all I have, in which it gets a little, self-awareness instead of awareness in general, but if you really enjoy change and you embrace it, and if you really enjoy learning, there innately is an unknown because you're learning, right? So it's
Exactly.
kind of an oxymoron kind of thing.
Exactly.
And yet if I'm totally honest with myself, when I get to a point where there's a certain aspect of the learning that is unknown, I get uncomfortable with it. So there is part of me, that's where the part of I don't feel comfortable with the unknown, when I don't know what's on the other side, even if I learn. It's from knowing to being that
Yes.
void, that
Yes.
unknown.
Yes.
But I
Yes.
still have an awareness and I still have a desire, not even a desire, just there is no other option. I have to continue to learn. I have to
Exactly.
continue to
Exactly. Exactly.
expand my awareness. I had, whether it's comfortable or not. So
Exactly.
it's, for me, it was like I could relate to a lot of this, but then there is a pivot point where you say, no, I'm not going to go any further, or no, there is no option. I have to push like through the uncomfortableness of unknown and change and see the other side. And when you push through, then the dominance and the superiority just dissipates. It's no
Exactly.
longer there.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
So focused are they on the complexity needed to maintain their BS and their false lives and personas? They have little time, energy, or ability. Yeah. That's what I was just saying. Okay. The life of a fool is a foolish business indeed. That's such a cool picture.
Uh, that's fun. Sorry, go back to that again. I'm trying to remember what that was now. It was some. Oh, I think it's a virus or something like that. Yeah.
That's how a virus looks under a microscope.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a plant.
Is a plant this one? Oh,
Yes, yes.
oh, okay. I couldn't
In
remember
a pot.
exactly, but ah,
In a pot.
oh, okay. Well, so much for that. But the viruses do look a lot like this, though.
Yeah.
Very similar when blown up.
Gee, I wonder why you said that. Being aware of and understanding the comparison mindset and hierarchy are essentials for our understanding BS. If we look around ourselves at our own lives and interactions, we often see
That was very funny. Gee, I wonder why you said that. It was so obvious, like duh.
obviously see these mechanisms in play to various degrees. How much we subscribe to them defines and reveals us. What's really of value, being better or being good? A question we need to ask, need to understand, need to hold in awareness, as the difference is profound.
Yes. Yes.
It's only the difference between surviving, thriving, living, dying.
That's pretty profound. Well, usually it's pretty
Profound.
profound. Usually.
In what circumstances does the superiority paradigm provide some actual real value and benefit? And at what cost?
All right. This is a good question. This is a very good question. Listening.
It provides value if it expands awareness.
Oh, nice question. And that's one.
So I don't fall into prey or become a BSM. The cost varies depending on the context.
All right. Now answer this question from a universal perspective.
I did.
Okay. Keep going then. There's more. There's more circumstances, plural.
Right.
What other situations? What other circumstances does the superiority provide some actual real value and benefit?
Continued enlightenment.
All right. What about more mundane?
Oh, mundane. What did I put mundane? Effectively dealing with BSMs.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So sometimes you need to apply the superiority paradigm to them.
Yes.
Basically, use that logic
To
a little bit.
effectively deal with it.
Yeah. All right. So what else though? What other situations?
I don't know. Is there a particular answer you're looking for? You can just tell me to save time.
Not necessarily. It's just
Yes, there is.
no, I like the variety because we can come up with one answer, but that's not really enough, So I am looking for multiple because it makes us understand more efficiently and effectively. So it is quite important to see.
That was diplomatic to the core. That was very good.
But it is
Man.
important the multiple perspectives. It's not that I was being diplomatic. I'm sharing
No,
what it
you
really is.
are. No, I came at you really direct, intentionally. You're
Oh.
so diplomatic. That was really good. Okay.
I wasn't trying to be diplomatic. I was just telling you how it is. So.
No, it was very diplomatic in how you did it. From a different perspective, multiple perspectives. When would you have to do that? When there's a situation that needs expediency and it's appropriate to do so. When there is lack of awareness, when there's foolishness involved in a situation and you're needing to pull out of that foolishness. When there is a bubble focus, when there is love involved.
Interesting. There was a love involved. I didn't anticipate that one. Pretty interesting.
All right. Can I move on?
No, because there's one other circumstance. where it
See,
is.
you did have one.
Oh, there is one. Oh, absolutely. There definitely is one. Yeah. Um, it's the reason that I'm kind of sticking on it just a little bit. It's because it is the reason for its existence in the first place, and that's useful to
Okay.
be aware of. Scarcity of resources. When there is a scarcity of resources, you know, and you are literally in a fight for your life when it comes to resources, then the superiority paradigm is quite useful. When it's, an us or someone else type of a situation, then the higher you're up in the pecking order, the more access you have to those resources. So
I
it's a
kind
sad.
of had that answer later.
Oh, okay. All right, good, good.
And I'll look at my notes carefully to see where it comes in. I'm not joshing you. I'm not making that up.
Yeah, it's a very obvious thing. It's just in this case, we have to see that there is a logic to the superiority paradigm. It didn't just come out of nothing. It came out of scarcity of resources, and in this too, it leverages. It's an efficient usage of energy as well. If you really get down to it, because the ones that are in the superiority positions, they get a lot of advantages from being superior. And once you've established superiority, you don't need to essentially fight for it every single time. You see, you've already established it, and now that doesn't always work. Sometimes that superiority is challenged continuously. I'll tell you a fun story. So on the game ranch where we had the restaurant, it's a big plateau, and kind of in front of us, we had the rocks behind us, where the restaurant was, and then it sort of sloped down somewhat, and it was a bit broken up and hilly where we were, kind of on a ridge on the edge of it, and then there was, it sort of gradually got more into a slope, a plane, and then it had a nice sort of a smooth little gradual rise up onto a hill, which was essentially the horizon that you could see, right? So especially in the afternoons or the evenings, this was pretty cool because you saw the sunset over there. But on this little ridge, it was a nice view in front of us, relatively. There was a wildebeest, and it was 3 cows and 2 bulls. Okay, that was it. A very small little group of them, and every day, you know. Sometimes twice or 2, 3 times a day, at least on a regular basis, you would see them. You would see the one bull come, and he'd be in charge of the cows, and he'd be all happy with himself and everything. And then the other bull would come and challenge him, and they were like literally out of the comics. You would see them chase each other, and they had these little dust trails as they would chase, and they would disappear over the ridge with these little dust trails hanging there. It was too comical. It was exactly like in the cartoons. And then they would come back, and they would chase each other. Every day these two would be going at it, and I don't know if they switched or not, because they kind of looked the same from a distance, so I couldn't tell. But man, it was just the most incredible thing. So in that case, the hierarchy, it didn't really benefit. There was no energy management benefit to it, but in general, it does save a lot of energy. So they
Well,
seldom get
isn't that
challenged that
interesting?
regularly. Yeah.
Isn't that, what was the last thing you said?
I say it's rare that it gets challenged that regularly. So usually not. Go ahead.
I
You were
looked at
saying?
I looked at my notes to see where your answer came to me. And isn't it funny that it was in the section about animal psychology?
Well, there you go. Right. I mean, that would be the pertinent section for it, of course. So yeah, yeah, yeah.
But how I related it to the mundane and to life experiences, not to the animal kingdom. That's where my mind took it and shifted it into the answer that you're looking at now.
Right,
Is what I'm
right.
trying to
And then
say.
yeah, and then also where it does somewhat come in handy is in the introduction of the idea of superiority.
That's psychology too.
Yeah, but you might say, well, shit, this is a dreadful idea. But we could just not have any concept of moreness if we didn't have a concept of superiority. Yeah, it's related. We've just taken out the 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 uh, the negativity of it in moreness. And we just haven't made it a hierarchical thing where I'm better than or this. But you could say, if you wanted to now get really technical, somebody say, yeah, but your monas is just, being it's superior living, it's superior. Okay, maybe it is. So we have to be careful with these things. Like everything, these terms are conditional, they're situational, they have to be taken under advisement, etc., etc. So yeah, they're not necessarily bad in themselves.
Right.
But yeah, so I mean, we
They're
do want to
context
be,
driven.
uh, superior to, I guess, I don't know, mm, mindlessness.
I said stupidity. You said mindlessness.
Yeah, same thing, exactly. I mean, stupidity is kind of like a deliberate mindlessness, so it's even worse. So.
Right.
But somebody could say, well, if you're happy and you're mindless, well, okay, that would be different, but that's a big if. Thing is, if you're mindless and you're stupid and you're happy, you are also vulnerable. We just don't live in a reality where circumstances have you where you are safe, you're always cared for. Yes, there might be circumstances that people get taken care of in all their lives, but that's a big risk, if you were looking at this from a universal over multiple lifetimes point of view. If that's your go-to way of being, you taking a terrible chance here that you're going to somehow luck out and get taken care of. Yeah, right.
That's for sure.
Exactly. And when you do look at people who are mindless, or I don't know what they call them today, but we used to say retarded. I don't know what the term is today. Mentally challenged, I guess, mentally handicapped. You look at people like that. Yeah, some of them are very happy, but I don't know. In my experience, unless they have ideal circumstances, they're not always happy.
Oh, I
Some of
don't.
them, yeah,
I didn't mean it in that context when I
right,
was saying
right.
stupid. I was
No, I know,
or
I know,
mindless. I
I
don't
know you would. I
associate
know you
stupid
would.
or mindless to
Yeah, yeah.
any
No,
kind
no,
of
no. I know you
cognitive.
weren't. I know you weren't, Donna. I was adding that as a way to look at this. To say, oh, because many people who are mentally challenged like that are very happy. They sort of the classic stereotype. But that's just what people remember because it's very convenient for them to remember that. But I know it's really interesting. We used to see a lot of this when we had the flea markets. We used to see them on a very regular basis, just to come into the stores as well, groups on outings and that. So we interacted with them regularly, and when you see groups of them, the happy ones are like the same percentages as any other percentage in any other population group. Let's put it that way. So it's not a default thing. It's not an automatic. So, to me, on the most part, they didn't seem very happy at all. I gotta say. And not stupid either. They were quite cunning when it came to, like, bargaining and negotiating and trying to get something, and getting people to do things for them, for instance. Oh, very cunning, very cunning. So anyway, we digress. We digress. Keep going, please, Donna. Keep going.
All right, just a minute. I'm
Yeah,
pouring some tea.
making some custard. Let me join the custard, Beena. Join the custard. Join the custard. I don't know why the custard makes me think of you. Because I guess you're the only one who eats it this way, right, Beena? Knows exactly what I'm doing here. Important business, delicious business.
Oh,
Uh, That was you, Donna, or Beena making that sound? Can't
Beena.
imagine it to be Beena. Oh,
Huh?
wow, Beena, you're right.
No, no,
Brilliant, Donna, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant,
no,
brilliant.
I was wondering,
Uh,
you were making or Donna was making. I was
It
like,
was, it was Donna.
yeah.
oh,
So,
funny.
so Donna, while you were doing this,
Mm,
hmm,
mm. You were listening, Donna?
I didn't hear the question.
That's one up, Beena. When it comes to capital D diplomacy, that's one up from pleading the fifth.
No, honestly, I didn't hear the question. All I heard was Donna.
Oh,
Something like, why are you doing this, maybe?
yes, yes. Why are you doing this? Yes. Why were you doing this?
Doing
Making
what?
that sound. Making that sound.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Don't expect me
No
to know
answer.
everything about myself, Beena. Don't expect me to know everything about myself. I'm a mystery to me. Right, right, Donna?
Oh, yeah.
Excellent.
yes, yes.
We are magical mysteries. We are magical mysteries. Love it. I love it. We're listening, Donna. We're listening. Just keep going. We're on your timetable and your schedule. Don't mind us.
No,
No,
sir. We're
keep
not.
going.
Hours.
Keep going.
All right. Hang on. Relate and explain primitive psychology as fully as you can from the perspective of insecurity. If you don't want to be eaten, attack others. Wow. That's what I wrote.
Wow, it's true though. Exactly. There's a logic to that, Donna. There's a logic to that.
That's all I wrote on that one.
Wow.
Further
Wow.
connected to behaviors in some now still active. Explain how the animal psychology is still around. What disguises cover its primitiveness? Is it cover or covers? Shouldn't it be covers? What disguises cover its, I don't know, primitiveness?
No, cover. It can be either. It can be either. It can
Oh,
be.
I see what you're saying. I gotcha. What disguises cover its primitive? Yeah. Okay.
Covers would
To
be
me,
literally a physical cover.
yeah.
The cover singular is disguise. Okay.
Disguises. Animal psychology is anything that is followed by the masses and based on fear, and that fear is used to manipulate. That's the cover to it, the way it hit me. Where might you have succumbed to relative value rather than absolute value when it comes to yourself?
Oh, that should be interesting.
Relative value when something was more important to me and I chose to lose sight of the bigger picture.
Oh, nice, 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 nice.
What's the price and cost of pecking order psychology in humans in the context of personal development? In a pecking order, by its very nature, prohibits personal development because there is no space for it.
Yes, yes.
The focus and energy is on being superior.
Yeah.
How you're going to peck and maintain it and on whom.
Exactly.
So there's just no space for.
Exactly. The focus is on survival, not evolution.
Right. Right. Survival, not thriving.
Not evolution.
Okay.
There was one last question. There was one last question there.
Oh, how do you know? You're not even looking at the screen.
Oh, I
You're
know.
fixing your stuff.
I know. Was there not another question? The one.
Oh, poo. Now
There
I went to the
was.
wrong.
There was. Go back and see.
Wait, where's my edit thing? That's what I get for being smarty.
Yeah, you gotta click on the edit button.
Oh, the edit.
Yeah.
Little dude. I
Right.
love that edit, dude. Okay,
Right.
I'm good now. I got myself in order.
Panic avoided. Where was that task? Oh, we're still getting to it. Oh.
I didn't see any more.
Yeah, there was one right at the bottom. There
I
was
didn't
one.
want to see more, obviously.
Oh.
All right, I'm getting there. Pecking. Still makes me laugh.
Packing. That's why that last question is important.
There's the virus.
Yeah.
Got to be close. There we go.
Next one. It was at the end. There we go. Very bottom question.
How do we deal with human peckers?
That's right. Was an important question.
We peck them before they can peck us.
Wow.
What did I put? I don't know. I'm just teasing. Let's see what I put. Oh, by maintaining awareness.
Yeah, there you go.
Preemptive.
Exactly.
They can peck away as long as you're aware.
Right.
And you're being preemptive. It doesn't matter.
Exactly. It just bounces off. It's becomes
right. Bounces right off you.
Right.
Doesn't break the skin.
Right. Exactly.
Like those no-see-ums.
Exactly. They do break the skin, little bastards.
Oh, little things.
Yeah.
Those little peckers. They need to quit. Go away. Yeah. Those no-see-ums. It's amazing how things can just show you things. Look at how often you say should and what's implied by yourself for yourself when you do. Anytime you say should, it feels like it's somebody else talking in my head.
Yeah.
What shoulds do you live by and why? I'm trying really making an effort to be aware of the shoulds. Even when I say should, I'm stepping back and being like, stop.
Yes.
You use that word.
And that's very evident too. And it's very noticeable and it's very admirable. And it's very awesome. It's very magical. Very fantastic. So.
How are they justified? Sometimes they are. Sometimes I say stop. And I look at them and I say, no, it applies here. I'm feeling good about this. It's okay. This is the okay should for me.
Right. And that is how it is justified. It is justified in that it is a power pause that gets us to consider, reflect, discern, choose, understand, and again, choose. Yeah.
Deliberately.
That's how they are justified. Yeah. To make us aware, to make us deliberate, to make us choose. Yeah. Very cool.
What's the thoroughly problematic implication inherent in shoulds? Just the implications that are inherent is that they're coming from an outside source, but the fact that they're there, you can leverage that to make it an internal question for yourself for appropriateness and for application.
Yeah. There's a little more, unless there is. Okay. So this, what's the thoroughly problematic implication inherent in should? What is problematic is that it leverages our goodness. The implication of should is that you got to do it because it's good, and you're a good person, therefore you have to do it. It's an unquestioned connectivity. It's an unquestioned pressure and leverage. If you are a good person, the things that you need to do in life are the shoulds. This is the meaning of should. It is the behavior attributed to a good person. This is the inherent problematicness of it. It's very subtle. This is why people get so sucked in with should, because they feel the need to do it. If they do not do the should, they are, by definition of the word should, bad. Right?
I don't know. Maybe. Depends on the context.
Not for you now, maybe at the stage where you're at, but if you look back at the shoulds that people adopt, when they don't do the shoulds, they feel guilty. It's inherently problematic because it's a prescribed behavior. Proscribed behavior. Yeah? It limits freedom of choice. This is the inherent
Right, that's what
problem.
it does.
Exactly.
They generally come from outside of, well, for me, they generally came from outside
Right,
of me.
right, right. But it takes away. Should is a mechanism that inherently removes choice, even when it comes from yourself. If you say should to yourself, you are also saying, in a way, there's no real choice. You see. So this is a big problem, that it limits choice and removes choice, and it messes up choice, and it just creates a whole mess, and it makes you feel guilty for not doing the should, simply because a should has been attached to it.
I think the word there that is key is problematic, implication, inherent. Well, three words actually. Because if you take those three out and just say should, you can leverage a should to be something that
Right.
serves you well and is worthy of energy for consideration.
Yes,
But
yes.
just if you take should in and of itself, inherently, yeah.
Right,
So
exactly.
that's how I guess I just perceive it
Right,
differently.
right. It's built into the definition of it, and
Right.
the understanding that this is something that you don't have a choice to do, and that's just terrible. That's just terrible. It's no good at all. Nope, nope, nope.
That goes to the next question about conventionality and conservative mindsets. When it comes to conventions, they leverage this problematic implication that's inherent in a should. And it's very deliberate for a BSM. They definitely take those things that are inherent in the word should and understanding that most people have of should and what reaction to should that people have. And they use that to leverage whatever outcome they're looking to achieve.
Exactly, exactly. And that's the problem. And I believe that's where the word should originated, as a leverage tool. It's a fantastic leverage manipulation tool. It's another inherent problem, right? It just sets itself up for abuse. No.
No matter what perspective you're coming from, it can certainly lend to that without awareness, without impeccability, without
Exactly.
appropriateness.
Exactly.
That's why you have to look at it within
Right.
those time frame or within those
Right.
components within
Right.
the contents. Text.
Text. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Context.
Right. Because it is a mechanism that, by its very nature, implies choiceless behavior. And that's inherent. The word, it means choiceless behavior, right? If you're a good person, well, your shoot is choiceless, essentially. Horrible, 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 horrible.
Like when you were talking to Rashmani.
Mm-hmm.
Did I say that right?
Yeah, yeah,
Rashmani.
Rashmani, yeah. Mm-hmm. Say again?
Caring for, was it her in-laws or her parents?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Her connection to should, yeah, yeah, yeah. And Albina made a good point there. She said the problem is that, she feels Rashmani likely subscribes to the same thing that she wants to be taken care of with her kids. So we brought that up, and she said no, but I agree with Bina. I feel there's probably some element to that, yeah. Despite protestations to the contrary, right, Bina?
Yes.
Yeah.
I
How do
see.
you feel that, Mina? Like what, is it something a person says? Is it a feeling that you get inside? Where do you glean that insight? I'm
Yeah, good
curious to
question.
like.
Yeah, the first thing is that somehow I have some understanding of South Indian culture, how things are there, and how the family ties and family setup is. And she is living here, and her parents also, and her in-laws, both are in India. And mostly what happens in India, parents, they invest all their money and savings, and or if not all the money and savings, but they invest a lot of money in education for their son, and later on it is kind of an investment, so they need a return also. And mostly girls side wife pay for that pay. This is how Indian culture is. And after that, it's not like done thing. Okay, she paid all, and her family paid all that things, but there's still this is a kind of understanding that that especially the daughter-in-law have to be with in-laws, even if husband is out there somewhere, but it's still. So, but she is living here for 25 years, and she is just continuously saying that I'm feeling guilty. So she is actually taken care of financially and keeping in touch and talking to them and asking them. And they used to come also to visit her quite often, US. But they are complaining, and she is feeling guilty of that I'm not there. I'm not there. So, which was like really something, I don't know, it doesn't make any sense to me. But why she's
Because
feeling
she's
guilty.
aware of the problem. That's where the no sense
Yes,
comes in.
yes. So it doesn't make any sense that if she is living here for 25 years now, not just 1, 2, or 3 years, 25 years, and she's family and she's working and all these things. So she says, I feel guilty, and it's so much negativity there. And she's quite sensible one. So the reluctance and the guilt side is, if you see that in the context of South Indian culture, so you can understand that there is this implication. By implication, is she is feeling guilty that she is not taking care of them as the way she needs to be. And plus, she also have children, so it is quite obvious.
As a speculation, not as a
Yes,
fact.
of course.
All right. Because I think I'm feeling Donna's point there. It's like, yeah, but you can't be sure of this. No.
I really didn't feel that. I really just wanted to know, like how you get those insights. That's all it was. It was just like, tell me how you kind of pulled that out of your conversation, because I didn't see all your conversation with her at all. Also, so yeah, that was
You were
very
not
helpful.
there. Yeah, you were not there. But when she was talking, you can get this feel quite obvious.
Yeah.
While she was sharing, you can see that if you were not there. So it is not that, okay, I was there, so I did that. If you were there, definitely you would get that.
Now,
Okay, so what do you think? What do you think it is when a person, an individual being, has an awareness, like she has, that guilt is misplaced, and yet they hold on to it?
all right, that's the part I was going to come to.
It is effort reward. That what is the consequences of that? Because she know that yes, she understand that everything, but still she know that what will be the consequences of that. So sometimes again it is about appropriateness. So that's why she is still doing that, and we all sometimes we get caught up in the situation where we know everything, but still we have to follow things.
So she said, and when she said no, that's not a factor for her. She said because something different with the kids. I can't remember what the deal was for the kids.
No, she says that okay, it is an understanding that okay, it is very clear in my mind that they will have a right to do what they want.
Right. Anyway, at the time when she said that, I did feel that this idea of her kids taking care of her was not such a strong thing. She didn't want to put that obligation on them. She said, right? But
She said that okay, it is very clear in my mind. I have no expectations. She said that.
right.
I don't feel that the full conviction in that when she was saying that. and it is somehow that she is thinking about everything. So it was not a shock for her or a surprise that, oh, uh, am I doing this for this reason? Not a shock or surprise. She is thinking about all these things. But still, I feel that it is just my personal perspective. The guilt part is still, it is more about my.
There's more to this, Beena.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always careful of convenient explanations because they can shut us off to mourners. So yes, that is a factor for sure. But I felt the biggest problem was she knows exactly what the problem is, but she's dealing with BMNs that are nasty and pushy and irrational. And for her to resolve this, she'd have to stand up to them. And she just says this is not in her space, in her availability. It's just not an option as she sees it.
So,
Hmm?
okay, now again, my personal perspective, which would be totally wrong, and I'm ready for that.
I'm ready for that. I love that.
Yeah, because I'm ready for that. I really want
Right.
to. It
Right.
needs to be wrong, but I feel that she is quite temperamental. She is very, very aggressive and keeping grudges, and also a superiority situation also here.
Yes, but
She don't
within her
want.
circle.
Yeah, she also don't want anyone to be here and interfere in her life, which is obviously perfect for it is the right for everyone. But in Indian culture, it's a crime for a daughter-in-law to even think like this. So
In other words, she
that's
doesn't
the
have the
very
strength
part.
of character to deal with it. Essentially, that's the be all and
Okay.
end all, the long part of it.
So it is more about appropriateness. She cannot get in fight with everyone, with whole community, with her parents, with her
Exactly,
in-laws,
exactly. That's what I'm
everyone.
saying.
Yeah.
But it's not about getting in a fight and telling them that they, like cutting off support and anything. But she could just say, "Look, we are taking care of you. If you don't like it, we can stop. So be appreciative, or we will stop." You know.
Okay, this is the ideal situation. This is the ideal step she can take. But I don't think so that it will be like this. And she can do this.
Oh no, she
So,
can't right now. She can't do it. It would cause havoc, and it'd be such um,
because
a major
in the future,
storm and fuss and bother. It's just not not worth it.
in the future, she also, like, they of course waiting for her children to get married, and they most likely she wants them to get married in the same community, at least in the same religion, and she being this much ruthless or straightforward might create a problem and might end up into a total social boycott from the community.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So
Oh, this she doesn't have the skills, or she's too timid, if for one thing, and also doesn't have the diplomacy skills to deal with this. So it's an insoluble problem for her.
yes, yes. And also, there is a part of her also, which is making me a bit. It's like that she is not giving a complete picture. Of course, it is initial stage, so nobody share everything. This is right, but there is some part of her also. She is uh, she is not completely. I don't know how to say that. Appropriate, yeah. Or maybe she don't, the right that she don't know how to deal with that.
For me, in listening to what you're saying, what comes up is so many times within myself, but also with interactions with other people. When it comes to cultural, and it goes back to convention in this slide, when those are so deeply embedded, the ability to pull out and look at things from an abstract it's challenging. There's some kind of thread that needs to be cut before you can actually pull out and look at it from an abstract. So the ability to get to a point of being able to see something from the abstract and maybe appropriate, I'm not to say what's appropriate for another person, but maybe for them to be able to figure out the most appropriate thing for them, maybe, is really hard because that thread isn't cut yet. And so they can only go so far in seeing what's appropriate within that connection to that thread. So little by little, it gets stretched and stretched, and maybe it breaks, maybe it doesn't. And then, then you can look at it from a perspective. So that thread and that process intrigues me, and that's why I was asking. I'm like really trying to hear from you, and still specifically because you have that ability to look at things from that abstract, and a lot of your threads are already been cut. Like how do you do that, and how did you get there, and what's the process? Because there's so much more going on than just the surface of, well, I was brought up in this cultural value system and this is where I am now. Because like you said, Beena, she's been 25 years. That's a long time. So what else is it? Like, is that thread not cut? Why isn't it cut?
Yeah.
The programming, the brain, the primitive brain
Financial aspect is
stem,
quite,
all that.
yeah, the financial aspect is quite strong here because
Ah,
as far as I know, it's a financial obligation on children. It's like that you here in US, students just take loan and after that they have to pay back. Same, but it is from their parents, especially for boys in India and also in Pakistan. But with a lesser degree, you can say that a bit. Not really much difference, but anyway. So the boy or a man and who is well educated or and having a good job, and especially if he is in US, it's a big deal. And the girl side or woman side, they have to pay a lot of money, and still they need to take care of his family also. I have a friend, uh, Facebook friend, Suresh. Suresh, and I call him, and he is in Dubai, and his wife is in South India, Kerala, and they don't have any kids. But he says that my niece and nephews are my kids, and he's taking care of everyone. And his wife is doing a job also, in some government job. He is living in Dubai alone, and his wife is living with his family in South Carolina. And after 2 years or 3 years, as far as I know, he'll go every year to South India. After 2 years, sometimes 3 years. Yeah? And his wife, I guess, I'm not 100% sure, never visit him. That's how they live. And even they don't have any kids, so they don't need anything to do. Like they can live in Dubai and have a good life. But things didn't work in that way, especially in South India. It's a very different culture. So when Rajmani, by name, I can understand that she is from South India. That's why I asked her, okay, I guess that your parents and in-laws are in South India. She says yes. And
Now,
South Indian culture is a very different, even different from the Bollywood and or other things.
but I said personally for you though, Veena, that was the question that Donna wanted to know.
Yeah.
How are you not personally involved in or getting sucked in? So,
In my culture,
no, just repeat your question, please, Donna. It wasn't so much a cultural thing.
it's just a matter, yeah, kind of like your culture. It is, how are you able to pull from some of the deeply embedded cultural and also upbringing and cutting those threads so that you can look at things from the abstract? What
okay,
process have you gone through which has allowed you to be able to do that?
okay. The first thing is my father. He was an anomaly in his family. because as I think I shared with you also that my forefathers, till my great grandfather, all were scholars and preachers, and they found almost a university there, and it's very famous. It's still in India, and uh, one of my grandfathers were from Jama Azhar, Egypt. He graduated and mastered from there, and other were my father's uncles were preaching all over subcontinent. They were traveling and doing all this. But my grandfather, he became an imam, and he married twice, and second was with a widow. So that was a different thing. And
You're getting a little faint, Beena.
okay, so that was a different thing. It
Are
was
you
a
using
quite scary.
the rubbish headset?
Seriously?
Yeah, seriously.
Okay, because that one is on charge. It was on charge because of our
Oh,
shutdown.
oh.
So and when my father and so my grandfather passed away very early when my father was quite young, like maybe 4 years or something. So my father, he became quite an independent person. He didn't follow a school of thought, even in religious point of view. He didn't follow that, but with the particular school of thought my whole family belongs to. But and also, he said, okay, I don't want to live a life like that. He was quite daring in his personality and his doings and all these things. And my father and my mother, it was a love marriage. And my mother was also from a very progressive, not a family, but my mama's father was also quite progressive at that time and was very liberal. So my father never, like he was, even we were quite young, but he was treating us as an adult and giving us like everything very properly and continuously doing things in a way which was quite enormous in my surrounding, in my family also. So that thing that he didn't follow a specific school of thought was something very huge for me also. And then I said, okay, if we can do this, why not me? And still, but still, with all I'm doing here, everything, still I have to follow uh, some cultural things also, religious things also, and my family background. Some rules still I do follow.
The key point for me in all of this, Donna, is just absolutely insistence on independence of being and lack of dependency.
Because yeah, my father's steps and his decisions helps me a lot in that because he laid the foundation that I don't want to follow any kind of fasting without even thinking. He was a religious person, but he says, no, I am not going to follow any blindly.
It feels as though the culture and the convention in and of itself is not right or wrong. It's just how it presents itself in your experience and how you have to relate it to what's appropriate for you. Because like you just said, there are things that you follow, and obviously you've thought through them and you're making deliberate choices based on what is appropriate. So it's not so much the cultures, it's just how when you add the shoulds to the conventions that it innately becomes
Exactly. Yeah.
problematic.
Yeah.
And then you have to step away
Right.
and figure out what's appropriate
Right.
for you.
It's just when you that independence of being and embracing choice, and being deliberate about your choices, then it all changes, and it all becomes a whole different deal. So I mean, the culture that I grew up in is a dreadful culture. It's an obedience culture. So thou shalt not question. That's it. No
Yes.
independence of being. It's the same thing essentially. Most cultures are like this. That's what makes a culture. They're looking for some sort of uniformity and adherence to a certain paradigm. So it's all the same thing. Here's the key point though, that to me it is one has to at some point have a willingness to be alone. to walk your path because it's right for you, because the alternative is just not possible. It's unthinkable. So that's it. There's no way I could have been in that and stayed in that. So I walked my own path, and I was willing to do that. If I was going to be alone, I was going to be alone. So be it, you know.
Consequences of yes, they are always some sort of, and sometimes I feel that I'm not really brave enough to do that, so I do compromise on few things which I don't want to, but yes I do, because of course that being being alone is not a thing for me. Uh, So and I love my family. I love my culture also. Yes, not entirely, but yes. So I don't feel that, but I have this courage in me, and or maybe a conviction to everything from my own independence of being completely. So what I'm doing is just trying to be as appropriate as possible. Sometimes, yes, it is more than just capital D diplomacy. That sometimes you just make compromises and say, okay, it is part of our country, but it is, in fact, there are compromises that which I don't completely agree with. To that, to
You're getting soft again, Beena.
to be just.
There you go.
I don't want to be outcast. Yeah, so that's why.
Yeah.
It's not an easy thing, Donna. It's not an easy thing. No.
Nope, it's not.
You have to bear a lot of consequences of that.
Yeah.
Some weird comments and people's behavior and then your family also. They
Right.
also suffer with you because it's a huge deal.
But it's the universe essentially telling you you need independence of being, and to unhook from the opinions and comments and things of others. You know, this
I
is
do feel
the
like
key.
it's not so black and white, though. I don't think
Yes.
it has to be a road that you travel alone to
Correct,
accomplish what's
correct,
appropriate for you.
correct. Right, right, right. And it's not actually implied in what I said. I said you have to be prepared. Doesn't mean that it is an actuality or an eventuality. No, it is just a potentiality. You have to be prepared for that potentiality. See what I mean?
Yep.
Because if you're not prepared for it, you are vulnerable to leverage and pressure, and people don't know that, and they're going to put that on you. But if you just say, "Hey, I'm prepared to stand on my own. If you don't like it, too bad. I'm not dependent on you." That's what makes a difference. Yeah.
But when you truly, I feel like, have sort of become that independence of being, at least this is sort of what I'm seeing, could be a potential of what might happen. It innately shifts you into that sort of mindset of the potential of that happening, because that truly is independence of being. I mean, a
Exactly.
realization that you could be standing on this earth and being the only person here on earth, and
Exactly.
you'd be fine. I
Exactly.
mean, that's the ultimate,
Exactly.
I'm
Exactly.
guessing,
Right.
of what a independence of being
Yeah.
would feel like.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but
But it's also, though, being able to be alone doesn't mean you have independence of being. That just means you're comfortable with yourself. But you could be comfortable with yourself and still be vulnerable to pressures from others. So there's more to it than simply being comfortable with yourself. I
I
imagine there's
understand.
many people living out in the caves or whatever who are there not because they are okay, they are able to be on their own, but it's more because they are unable to really be comfortable with others and deal with pressures. So it's more than just being comfortable with yourself. Independence of
Yes,
being
I
is
know.
is to have that
I did
strength of
not.
character to say, sorry, in this, I don't care if the whole world is wrong. I believe I'm right, and I'll stand by it.
Yeah,
That's
this
what
is
I
the
was
point.
getting to the
This is
point.
the
Yeah,
point.
yeah, yeah,
That's the point. We just get at it a little
yeah, yeah,
differently.
yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, brilliant. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
That's the end of what I did. Um,
Ah, okay, Okay, brilliant,
Probably
brilliant.
a good
But
point.
we
Yeah.
didn't. We did we do the second? We were in the middle paragraph. Oh,
Well, we kind of, I mean, we did.
all right. Okay. Take a very
When we
careful
talk
look at
about
convention. Yeah.
convention, yeah.
Conventionality. Yeah.
And I think convention, hang on, I can do it. Conventionality
Mm-hmm. Brilliant.
can be leveraged
Yeah.
as well.
Oh, absolutely. Everything can. That's the key lesson in all of this. This is the transmutation to monas. Things in themselves are not good or bad.
Right.
That's it. It's how you use it. These are all tools to be used as appropriately, and sometimes they are very useful and very needed. So this is what we're
Appropriately
doing.
for the person, not for
Exactly.
the group think.
Exactly. Or sometimes for the group even too. All depends. You never know. So yeah. 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 That's what we're talking about. Conventionality. All right. Brilliant. So what do you want to do next? Go and do more and come back, or what?
Yep. I
Okay.
need to take a break anyway and do the dog thing and all that good stuff. So
Okay.
we've
Okay.
been going at it for a few hours. I'm going to eat, do the dog thing, do some more.
Okay. Brilliant. 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 Very, very, very brilliant and good. Okay. Awesome sauce. Awesome sauce. Fantastic. All right. See you a little later then,
Much,
Donna. See
both
you a
of
little
you.
later. That was fun. That was fun. That was great. That was fun. I like the sound effects, by the way.
Thank you.
Just being naughty,